Dr. Pairis-Garcia is an associate professor in the College of Veterinary Medicine. She's responsible for global production and animal welfare with a research, teaching, and extension appointment. She does a lot of work with pain management, euthanasia, assessment programs for animal well-being. And her talk today is going to be about producer perspectives for precision livestock management. Monique?
Thank you. I'm super happy to be here, and I appreciate you guys sticking around. We're going to make this exciting, kind of interactive, and the teacher inside of me has a homework assignment for you to complete. So I'm not going to talk too much to you, lecture style. I think what's really amazing about this forum that we have today and your afternoon schedule is we're really talking about the future of what we're going to see in our farms, and technology is a huge component of that. But when we start talking about change and being someone in animal welfare, change doesn't always come easy. And there's sometimes a disconnect between what the scientists at the university thinks is valuable and what is actually realistic for you guys to implement on farm. So, because I have a captive audience and I have no issue bribing you, what we're going to do today is we're actually going to get your perspective. So precision livestock farming, for the purposes of what we're doing today, is really defined as the specific use of technology to measure and manage at the level of the animal in real time. And you have all of your experts who are actually going to talk about this in the afternoon. But what I'm really interested in is that technology is going to give us an opportunity to improve and optimize our productivity, but it's also going to be a way for us to improve and optimize our welfare issues and our challenges that we have. And being able to evaluate and provide metrics on welfare and be able to advance that as that goes on, even in the face of labor shortages. So when you think about how precision livestock works in a very general sense, we have this continuously measured system where the pig is going to trigger your sensor, and there's a variety of sensors, and I'll provide some examples. That information is then going to be collected. That information is analyzed and reported. A decision is made on what that information provides us. And then we have a human intervention that comes in or an automated intervention that comes in. And so the technologies that are either already in place or what we're trying to establish is essentially trying to get that real-time information, take it from the pig, and make a decision at the end of that circle. And so I'm really excited about precision livestock farming because it's going to be able to help us tell the story about what we're doing from a welfare perspective and help us get better with our welfare conditions on farm and some of those animal-based measures that we're looking at. So for those of you that are involved with on-farm stuff, you know we have the Common Swine Industry Audit and Pork Quality Assurance Program. And those are two foundation programs that we really rely on to be able to quantify animal welfare conditions on farm and help us determine where we want our future to be on the farm from a welfare standpoint. So the Common Swine Industry Audit is actually a very nice audit program because compared to some other assessments and audit programs, it relies very heavily on animal-based measures. And we'll go into that, but it's basically the most direct indicator of an animal's condition, and 50% of your points are going to be based on what your pigs look like. So an audit's objective, an assessment or an audit's objective is for us to be able to evaluate the farm and score key measurements based on the set of requirements that come from a packer or a retailer or whoever you're selling your product to. So the swine industry is very unique in the United States as it's one of the only livestock industries that has a national auditing program through support from the National Pork Board. And so the Common Swine Industry Audit, we have 27 key aspects of animal care, and we have pre-harvest food safety in it as well. So when we start looking at what it means from a welfare perspective, we look at what we call these animal-based measures. So they're measures that when your auditor or your assessor goes on the farm, they're actually looking directly at the animal. And within that, we have a variety of questions that we ask our producers to look at. So we think about willful acts of abuse. We think about humane euthanasia, so evaluating the euthanasia process. And then we have a list of conditions that we're going to go and evaluate that subpopulation of animals. So we're looking at severe lame animals, we're looking at body condition, we're looking at scratches, a very controversial topic right now in the welfare world, deep wounds, a variety of things, right? So you walk through that barn, and what we're interested in is trying to find that percentage. And one of our challenges is some of these things are really hard to pick up. And I did my PhD on lameness, and I still work on lameness. And lameness on the sow farm is something that is still a very difficult thing to manage and treat. And by far an area that we need to improve on, not only from the welfare of the pig, but from a production and performance standpoint. So lameness is one of the top 3 reasons for involuntary culling. It's often one of those where you just can't salvage that animal. Treatment from a veterinarian standpoint is extremely difficult, even when you have some of that mild or moderate lameness. To be able to get an antibiotic or an NSAID to that joint is extremely difficult. You have heavy sows, you have a lot going on. That the majority of our barns are concrete. And so we're losing a lot of our sows, and we're having a high replacement rate based on lameness issues. We also see, and now I would need to talk to Billy about some of this stuff, is the impact of lameness on that overall productivity, our farrowing rates, just how many pigs we get to farrowing. And with the transition to group housing, we're likely going to be able to see much more of this, right? We have animals who have access to get around, move more. Lameness may become even more of an issue. So precision livestock farming is an exciting way for us to start automatically detecting lameness. So rather than having your caretakers who typically will get every single sow up in the morning when they're feeding and go behind and check for any toe tappers, the idea is we're going to figure out a way to use technology to be able to actually detect those animals, not only when they're hurt or injured, but being able to do it when it's not such a severe condition, when we do have some more successful treatment options. So some of the things that we're looking at in the industry right now are pressure mats. So pressure mat when they walk by, where they actually change the way that they move and their gait. We're looking at force plate systems. That can be something that she's coming out of farrowing, and you're just looking at weight distribution on each leg as an indicator that something's going on. Or even accelerometers, just how fast or how slow she's moving. And so precision livestock farming really is going to couple well with trying to improve welfare on farm. And it's going to be something that we're going to be able to utilize in addition to a very good caretaker. But when I'm really here, oh, we do have some other available things that I like. I'm really into the lameness thing, but we do have other things non-related to lameness. So RFID tags, cameras that actually can estimate growth and body condition, heat detection, water consumption, and then weighing pig scales. So the lameness one is just an example from my welfare perspective, but there's a variety of technologies that I'm sure are going to be talked about later on. So what we're going to do, because I'm going to make sure you guys have plenty of time for this, we're going to talk a little bit about future technologies, and then I want to spend the rest of the time with you completing the survey that's in front of you. So some things that we're seeing from a future technology standpoint are these tail tech cameras that can identify early onset of tail biting, so something that would be very marketable in the finisher side section. Pig face recognition cameras, so there's a lot of work going on trying to manage pain and looking at grimace scales, but also pig facial recognition just from an identification standpoint. And then pig activity level, so looking at how changes in the level on the pen may be an indicator of an animal getting sick or the population having a problem.